Hi everybody, it's Bobby here. I just want to give you a little bit of feedback here on Learning Plan 3. Your discussion boards as well as your risk factor surveys have been graded. So as of now, everything that you submitted to me is completely graded and caught up. I want to just give a little feedback on the discussion board. You guys did a really nice job for the most part of being active within the first few days, getting your initial post out there so that people can read and respond to it. You also did a really nice job going above and beyond, many of you to actually respond to several of your peers, to use additional resources like videos, additional research, and websites and articles. So I really appreciate the fact that you're owning the information, you're synthesizing it, and then you're reapplying it and encouraging your peers to do the same. Some of you are still struggling with keeping um, active throughout the week. I would encourage you to do so because you'll lose points otherwise, but also you're really not plugged in and a part of the discussion, which is a huge, huge piece of feeling connected in online learning. Um, the other piece I want to say is that many of you are doing a great job being active all week, but there are a few of you who are still choosing to post on the last day or two of the learning plan or post all within the same day. So that when you see the grading rubric is really going to bring you down in points. And unfortunately, this class is highly discussion board based. There aren't a lot of other alternative assignments. So if you miss discussion board points, it's really truly going to hurt your grade. So I would encourage you to make sure that you are plugged into this class at least 4 times a week on the discussion board, and not just giving fluff posts, but quantitative, um, synthesized posts that show that you understand the material, that show that you're encouraging and engaging with your peers. That's the only way that you're going to be able to get full credit for the discussion board. Please know that I read every single post. That I want to make sure you understand the material, and so I'm not just going to give you points for writing stuff. I want to make sure that you own and understand the material, but also that what you're doing is discussion. It's not just saying, great thoughts. It's adding to that. As far as feedback for the risk factor surveys, I think for the most part you guys did a great job. The only feedback I want to say is many of you struggled as far as asking 4 questions or 5 questions that only asked for demographic material, so age, race, gender, grades, things like that. That doesn't really give us a true indicator of risk factors. We want to make sure we're asking things about physical abuse, sexual abuse, relationship with parents, truancy, drug use, sexual behavior, home life, community life, safety, let's see what else, mental health issues, um, just anything that we can think of, positive role models, positive influence, after school activities, grades, anything we can think of. That's what we want to know about. We don't necessarily need to spend 4 questions asking about some of the things that are static, that aren't going to change. For the most part, you guys did a really good job asking measurable, objective questions. There's not a lot of there weren't a lot of questions that I had to tweak as far as that was concerned. But overall, everybody should have feedback on their survey, what looked good, what they may want to change, keeping in mind a few of you did struggle with asking questions that needed to be defined. So all surveys need to be addressed. I should say all material that you ever give out at an agency needs to be at a 3rd grade level or below. So the survey should be able to be taken basically by anybody and understood, because if we use words that they don't understand, it can cause them, A, to check any box that they feel like checking, or B, to feel stupid. And that's not going to get us very far at all. So making sure that our questions are user-friendly and strength-based. I think you guys did a really good job with that. There were just a few questions that, I understood, but someone who wasn't familiar with the terminology wouldn't understand some of those things. So even just defining things like parenting styles, those are things we understand now, but other people may not. So keep that in mind. The next learning plan we're jumping into is learning plan 4, where we talk about self-harm. I just want to kind of say just a few things about that. I'll say a lot more in my introductory video, but making sure we're not confusing self-harm with suicidality. Sometimes people who self-harm do end up killing themselves, but that's not their intention. Their intention truly is to express some deep inward emotional pain. It comes out in a physical way, but it's not an attempt to kill themselves. And it's also not a quote unquote cry for help. It is a true um, it is a true outward demonstration of inward pain. So trying to be sensitive to that, I think a lot of times, especially with girls, we call it dramatic, we call it attention-seeking behavior. Well, certainly they're seeking attention because they're hurting. It's not drama. So I just want to make sure we're kind of entering through the learning plan with that premise. The other thing I want to encourage us to look at is the differences between self-harm in boys and self-harm in girls. I would really like to see some of that discussion take place on the discussion board. How do those behaviors look different? Why do they look different? And what are we missing, especially in boys? Keeping in mind that self-harm behaviors in boys just present themselves so very differently. It doesn't mean that it's not occurring as often as girls. It just looks different. So I want to make sure we spend some time on that. I would challenge you guys to look that up on your own, present that on the discussion boards, and see if we can engage in a discussion regarding specifically self-harm in boys and what we're missing. The other thing I want to show is the correlation between self-harm, substance use, and sexual abuse. It's a pretty strong correlation. And I want to challenge you guys to think about, are eating disorders and drug use a form of self-harm? And I think we have to look at the intent. So overall, I think this is a really exciting learning plan. I love talking about some of these out-of-the-box topics that people probably aren't thinking about. So overall, keep up the great work. I'm here and I'm available if you need me via Skype, email, phone, whatever you might need to feel connected. I would encourage you, if you're struggling, connect with me. Be active on the discussion boards, get engaged, because even losing a few points on the discussion board is really going to hurt. So have a good week.